the Super Morning Show later this
Dave,
morning.
can I have a bite at it? Dave, you see, personally, I think that on this issue of companies leaving the country, I think that we are looking at it from a very myopic viewpoint. David, when you read the book, and I've always promised people to do this, but I never get the time to do it, to serialize the book of Professor Bafo Ajimendia on a champion. Now, David, you know that under a champion, for example, for 7 years, Ghana never imported rice. Ghana was self-sufficient on a lot of agricultural products. In fact, when you go through the Ghana Statistical Service data, until its twilight times from 77 to 78 and all that, David, Ghana was really doing well. For me, if Global is living, today we've heard that the SG issue is a rumor. They say that they've not been sanctioned from France and all that because the headquarters is sanctioned in Paris. If it's not so, David, for me, the key strategy we need to take advantage of is how local and Ghanaian businesses can replace this. We have Haptel in the system. If Global is going, how can we have another Ghanaian company which is local, indigenous, handled, and take place? Recently, I was trying to do a survey. David, do you know that upon all the businesses in Ghana, when you go through the AFTA, Africa Continental Free Trade something, only 300 Ghanaian businesses, 300, meet the standard to partake in the activities of AFTA. David, after all the Momume jubilation and everything we did, after headquarters in Ghana, after headquarters in that, all the businesses in Ghana, before even the headquarters came, what preparatory processes did we take them through? Because we are signatory to the AFTA, we know the conditionalities and the requirements for businesses to partake in the activities of the AFTA. So what did you do? We brought the headquarters here, and to date, I read the chief. I've forgotten the guys. I'll share the link with you when I'm done. Only 300 businesses, so David qualifies for the AFTA secretariat activities. That is not proper. So David, for me, it shouldn't be about businesses are leaving and we do the the political angle is okay because David, in fact, me I always cite multimedia. I don't like to go far. David, now in a week we go on plan for about 3 days. 6 to 6. Nyamia 6. David, imagine a company like multimedia, 2 radio stations, right? In Shira, Love, in Kumasi alone. Our studio has how many lights? 5 year, about 25 lights on. David's microphone is on. My microphone is on. Leo's microphone is on. So, David, have you seen the change? All these things are on. So, if the company is running on diesel and 1 liter 15 Ghana cedis for 12 hours, 6 to 12 is 6, 6 to 6 is 12 to 6, so 12 hours a day for even 2 days. That is a lot of money that a private business will suffer so they can crumble. But David, me, I'm always happy the foreign companies are living. You know why? Look at the foreign companies. When they even bring in the business, their managing director is coming from their parent company. When you read about the Temampakadan project, the company that did the feasibility studies for how to move it from Akosombo to Mpakada, Afcons Limited, is from India. Because the loan they gave at the 350-something million was from India. So when they bring the people from India, they'll pay them expatriate fees. But the Ghanaian will go and they'll pay them 1,000 Ghana, 700 Ghana, 800 Ghana cedis. So I mean, David, when they are going, they should go. If they expatriate, because at the end of the day, they repatriate their profits.
Yes, that's what I was going to say.
Exactly.
But even all the monies they make, all the profits they make,
they repatriate them in any way.
But
they take it our way.
When they put the sanctions on Russia, when McDonald's and all these companies were leaving.
Local businesses took over. And at a point, you saw that the EU and some of the countries were even like, has affected China and everything, affected Russia. So, David, it is time for the local company to take commanding height of our economy. If it's delivery services, but now the Akufo-Addo trade minister should be out and say that a motorcycle could be something. When you go to China every year, look at the millionaires they create. It's a systemic. Go to Nigeria. Nigeria's made Aliko Dangote, we eat it.
And if
it's the Nigerian government that decided that
these companies are teaching
people.
us that it is possible. So even if there was not a Ghanaian company that was into that service, they came in.
It means introduce people to the service.
Even when listening to people who go to buy or do trade business in China, they'll tell you that where they even go for the production of some of the things that they bring down, they're not very big, huge companies.
Oh,
yeah.
They talk about small space B, so small garage B, where they have some equipment, some machines, and they're producing at large scales. And we go there, we buy them.
David, when you look at my iPhone, when you check the model, I wish I can do the practicals by time. When I connect it to my laptop now, the phone, though it's assembled in Silicon Valley in the US, it was made and put together. The parts and everything was done in China. What is China's competitive advantage? Imitation. There's nothing new under the world. Yeah. They imitate.
You remember some years ago when the Chinese shoes were coming, Chinese products were coming to Ghana? We gave it names when we saw it as inferior. Now, as we speak, they are huge giants.
Let's do practical economics. This is my shoe. Leo gave it to me. Though I real life on Facebook. We are live. How much is the shoe? The last I gave it to me.
So I think it was $185.
$185. Let's assume it's 10 Ghana cedis, right? 185. So that's 1,850 cedis. Yeah. Obi salary no use line on cotton pabwa 80 million. So what would that person do? China will look at this. One I see na source no. On one way be no the bad body have been just sasia ba could be a new chin be 2 months e say no aton. But the people will buy because their purchasing powers are not the same. Yeah. The grade of my iPhone is different from the grade of the iPhone someone will use in the UK because the markets are not the same. The economies are not the same. And David, this is basic economics. But I see we always like the highfalutin to structure rigidities. We should, David, empower locals to go into the business and we should support them. David, we live in a country where Justice Bedu, a former colleague, he opened a consultancy, registered 1 month to Nigeria for Betum. You see, we should give David. But again,
we should also start from a certain stage. You know, when you go on social media, for example, Leo and Eugene, you get to realize that in China, even the young ones are being taught and trained how to do things with their hands.
Yes.
Meanwhile, the Ghanaian child is out there doing all the silly things you can imagine, and you want to compete with these people.
Dave, you see, I also disagree. You see, our education is not entirely bad, though. I trained at KN West. You see. The challenge for education is that, David, there's too much fixation on passing exams, right? So it's
living
not
at the practical aspect of things.
Yeah, practical is there, but
I agree with you because you know where I'm coming from. I have somebody who left and is out there somewhere. And like you rightly said, our education system is not bad because the person is
she's excelling.
Performing
she's excelling. She's beating people. You see someone goes to school.
But how many, in terms of the percentage, in terms of the ratio, how many are able to do this?
Dave, you're not even explaining it well. Someone attends school in Ghana, goes somewhere, and in the space of a month, wins award and beats everybody in the
several
class.
Awards, not just one or two.
In undoubtedly, the United States of America, such a country. Why? Because the Ghanaian has capabilities. We don't unleash Ghanaians into anything. When we unleash people, they will do well. Because you see, it is not for nothing someone will go to a normal, our so-called Ivy League school in Ghana, Ivy League in the Krapapa Bank. Now, it's not for nothing. It means that the person has a certain semblance of debt. But you see, what I'm talking about education system is that I have a friend in the UK. They are doing Anglo-Ruskin University. You know what their tea is about? They pick the business in Peterborough, which is where the university campus is, and the business is collapsing. So you know what they are doing? There are 3 people. They are tasked with speaking to the people that why is the business thriving in Northampton, not thriving in Peterborough, and they are trying to do this. But our thesis, David, what are we looking about? The taste of Ghanaians in this. Difference. You see, we don't, David. If you have to bring about the but look at this cocoa person. We're not funding it, and no, but hypertension will be killing us because we don't.
This month is a hypertension month.
Yes,
and Dr. Kokoro, good morning to you. He's also raising concerns about what is happening, and I sit back and I'm like, but we just had this conversation yesterday about the benefits of cocoa and what it can do for the blood pressure.
We should start making.
You know the question I asked him yesterday. So what next? You've done the research work. So what next?
It's funding.
What next?
Prototypes. Build something.
Who has realized and appreciated the work done? And so let's go into this. Let's pick this and then make Ghanaians benefit from it.
But then,
the world at large benefit from it,
Dave,
and then make some money from
Dave,
this.
Call your friend Professor Ellis Dabo when he was heading KCCR. Who funds KCCR? Who funds the KCCR? Yeah. It's the Germans. Who funds Noguchi? David, we live in a country where our leaders are convinced ourselves that we are poor. Yesterday, do you know something I heard that angered me? William coming. You know the school feeding Kufo started with 80 pesos. They removed to 20 pesos. Yesterday, the national coordinator for school feeding was on Adom trying to celebrate why they moved from 97. You know, he went to 121 cedis, 20 pesos to 150 cedis. Yeah, a day be a crabby scared the actual 150. How do we agree? Yes, this madness. You see, now because we are raw crashing. Kosua raw.
And when the kids are complaining about the poor feeding that they're going through in their schools, we sit back and we do politics with it and say it's been since whatever.
But then, aside politics, have we been able to sensitize rich men in the country to be able to donate it to some of these?
No, have they been allowed to?
I don't know about being allowed to. But
Eugene, Leo, you and I and Eugene were in a certain office 2 days ago. What did the woman say to us? That even when they want to feed their kids, they don't have the headmistress. You don't know.
You have to hide.
When you want to pay for certain things. You cannot do it.
I was not even talking about the school feeding. I'm talking about
businesses and all that,
funding research and all these things.
No, it's because
we know the likes of Andrew Carnegie and then Rockefeller and all these people who put their monies into scientific organizations. Because
the environment is congenial and conducive for business. If Rockefeller knows that I'm investing in Leo, he can do the 10-year analysis. He knows the currency. And all this could show be him $14 cedis. Do this guy could do 28. Wow,
but they are buying Bugattis and building mansions.
No, I'm saying I'm saying that Rockefeller will do that because the U.S. currency, even if it depreciates, it makes sense. But our city today is 14-1. So how do you put money in that business? The business will not make money. For example, if you are going to import jeans, right? You buy the jeans 40 cedis at China. If you do Ghana, now could do 100 cedis because of port and transportation. Why do you think cement prices are different for different locations? It's 4, right? It is a jeans in 100 cedis. You brought it in 40 cedis. Who produce a Ghana?
Producing stuff in Ghana is very expensive.
Exactly, because power very, very and all that. Why do you think companies like Unilever and Co, they say that they are going to Nigeria, Cote d'Ivoire and everything? Cote d'Ivoire is one of President Akufo-Addo's best examples in opposition. Why? Yeah. Because the kilowatt percent that businesses pay in Ivory Coast is relatively cheaper than Ghana. So the person who imports and transfer, why is the US producing iPhones in China? Why? Because the ordinary US citizen would take maybe $5 or $10 an hour. But Chinese will take $3 because what? Population. So they are taking advantage of their numbers like India, and they are being the factory of the world. That's what you do. But our competitive advantage is into politics. Look at our billionaires. 90% of them are government contractors. 90% of them, they get Obiana government contractors, they can be millionaires. So that is why they don't even understand why they need to empower entrepreneurs. And that's our challenge as a country. So for me, it shouldn't be about businesses are going, Akufo-Addo, no. We must compel the government to give us a plan. By now, the trade minister should give us a plan. These campaigns going, they are living a vacuum. Glovo was doing a certain business. Uber Eats was doing a certain business. Walmart also was doing a certain operation. How are we replacing those businesses? And we must ensure that whoever replaces them are locals.
And that is why when they came in, they were talking about moving away from taxation to production. A lot of people embraced it. People embraced it because that is what we need for this economy. Our economy is import driven.
Yes.
And it's always killing us. What are we producing as a nation? What are we?
Dave, you know something I realized. I saw Afro Quanta. The toothpaste second hand, a toothbrush second hand in about.
What's the toothpaste I think?
Toothbrush second hand.
Hey.
Let's go for a break.
Different cars take different journeys. The strong ones build big cities that people thrive in.